The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, a piece of Vancouver's history returns.
Controversy around Queens.
And what does the future of BCIT's housing look like?
Hello, and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Mac Fleet.
And I'm Sylvia Sena. Our show is a compilation of stories produced by BCIT's broadcast and online journalism students over the last 3 weeks. Let's take a look at what's making news around the Lower Mainland. We begin on campus where BCIT students organized a petition that received over 1,800 signatures in opposition to raising parking prices. Reporter rallied has the story.
Yeah, I raged about it for about 10 minutes, but then it's like, what can you do, right?
Students at BCIT were welcomed back to their winter semester with skyrocketing parking prices. On February 1st, drivers will be paying around 60% more at the Burnaby campus.
I get raising the parking up, but that much seems like insane.
Parking rates have gone from $5.50 to $9.25, which has upset drivers. A petition was started and has now gained more than 1,700 signatures, but the Student Association says that the change is here to stay.
I can't directly say, hey, we can't increase this, we can't do this, but I can say, this is what students are saying.
BCIT says prices haven't gone up in 8 years. The new prices will reflect parking rates at similar institutions.
You know, students, especially with how the world is right now, can't afford that, and it's hard.
BCIT programs have heavy workloads, so every minute counts. This time crunch forces BCIT students into their cars because public transit can sometimes just be too time-consuming. Full-time students have access to the UPass program, giving them free public transit, but many say they live too far away to rely on it.
I think it's a pretty far drive for me already. It's about an hour, and then going into public transit, it's about an hour 30.
I also think there'll be a bit of a divide though, because transit does take a long time for a lot of people, and that's something that I recognize myself.
The Burnaby campus will offer an economy lot at the original daily rate of $5.50 and long-term parking passes, which provide more value than daily parking rates. With rising costs, it may be time for students to look for new modes of transportation. I'm Riley Lyons, in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
On January 17th, Vancouver City Council voted yes to the proposed Uplifting Chinatown Action Plan. The plan focuses on street cleanup, graffiti removal, and increased security in the Chinatown area. Astapandi Kanan reports.
Greg and Beverly Ueda are owners of Ayauno Cafe located in the heart of Vancouver's Chinatown. Greg says the city has failed to keep its promises.
It's just a lot of garbage around. The city of Vancouver quit a lot of street cleaning. They've resumed it, but for a long time there, things just piled up. This area here used to have a lot of tents. Now they're starting to clean up, but for a while it got pretty sketchy there. It's been a gradual progress. So they attempted for a few times, but it wasn't successful.
The VPD reports an increase in violent crimes between 2021 and 22 of 3.6% in this district. That's almost 6,400 incidents.
The number one concern people had, like business owner had, that they were voicing out was safety. But obviously we don't have that problem because of, we're very gated and we have security here.
Do you think that if you weren't gated and you didn't have security, you would?
I think I would be concerned too. Yeah.
Business owners are also concerned that graffiti and broken storefront windows are steering their clientele away from Chinatown.
We are still working on the hiring the 100 police officers. So the immediate measure we take is to improve the cleanness and also improve the public safety in Chinatown.
But Greg is apprehensive that hiring police officers may not be the most effective solution.
Because they tend to be aggressive if they're untrained and they don't understand conflict de-escalation.
Greg and Beverly believe that this action plan is a good start and are both hopeful. They are eagerly waiting to see the progress. I'm Astapandi Kanan in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Staying in the Chinatown neighborhood, Vancouver's Lunar New Year parade returned in spectacular fashion for the first time since 2020. Reporter Ryan Bailey attended the event.
After 2 years of COVID cancellations, thousands eagerly gathered on Pender Street to take in the sights and sounds of the Spring Festival.
The past 2 years, we never had the chance to kind of celebrate together. Having this kind of parade really just like showcase the culture.
The fact that it was a long time ago, there is no parade, so I'm happy to see it again.
On this occasion, partisan politics were put aside to celebrate the event. Municipal, provincial, and federal leaders came together to take part in the parade.
Well, one of the things I find when you celebrate different cultures, it kind of tears down some of the myths or stereotypes or ignorance, and you get to feel that we're all so common and so connected. We have so much more in common.
For many, it was their first time attending the event. Amongst the music, dancers, and costumes, one thing stood out as truly captivating.
Oh, those dragon things are pretty cool. I like the dragon things.
Me, I love the dragon.
I really enjoy the dragons, and the costumes are amazing also.
The dragons also left an impression on Surrey MLA Eleanor Sturco.
Well, you know what? I actually never had a lot of exposure to the dragon dancing before, and it's amazing. So this was actually my first time coming down here for Lunar New Year, and it blew my mind. It's not only the amount of participants in the parade, but actually the number of people who come out to watch.
And there's more for the community to celebrate. Just earlier this week, Vancouver City Council approved a $2.1 million fund aimed at revitalizing the Chinatown neighborhood. Ryan Bailey in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A local drag queen called on her supporters when protesters threatened to disrupt an event at the Coquitlam Public Library. Gurpreet Kambo has the story.
This is a bubble of love. There's nothing that can harm us when we're putting on...
It was like a rainbow had gathered around the unstoppable Connie Smudge at Waterfront Station on January 14th.
Together to get on the SkyTrain out to Coquitlam so we can spread some joy and understanding and creating places for everyone to belong.
Smudge called on her supporters to join her when protesters threatened to disrupt her drag queen storytime event.
They say bad things, nasty things about us.
And they need some love from gay people.
Dozens of supporters joined the Love March. They jumped on a SkyTrain to the Coquitlam Library for a drag queen storytime presentation.
There's some counter-protesters I anticipate, but hopefully we will outnumber them, and the only way to combat hate is more love.
And where hundreds more supporters met the march. And about 20 protesters.
I'm a bit unclear with why drag queen, which is an adult entertainment, why do drag queens want to tell stories to children?
I would invite people who are worried about drag queen story time to go and consider the difference between a cartoon and a cartoon for adults and a porn cartoon.
And though the library had offered to sneak Connie in through the back door when they'd first heard about the protests, she entered through the front, surrounded by supporters.
I'll be back in 40 minutes. I'll see you in 40 minutes. Hello, friends. It's time to say.
Parents and kids seem to enjoy the event.
This is what Enzo and I just made. Beautiful drag queen.
I really liked it. I started watching a show, it's called RuPaul's Drag Race, and I loved it. And so then I started participating in fashion, and I really like it now.
This wasn't the first drag story time at Coquitlam Library, and despite the controversy, the library plans on doing more.
We're very pleased with how many pro-drag event supporters have come out, and also how many children have come out with their families.
And all those children inside and all of their clever parents who want these kids to grow up exactly who they are, being their authentic selves and being loving and caring about each other. I wouldn't want to be involved with anything else. Let's give Queens a chance!
Gurpreet Kambo, BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Gurpreet Kambo joins us now. Gurpreet, where did the idea of drag queens doing kids events come from?
It's been around longer than most people think. Connie told me she's been doing events since the 90s. However, Drag Queen Storytime as a formal event started in 2015 in where else? San Francisco. From there, it's spread around the world with over 50 chapters currently.
And what's happened at the other libraries where it was held?
Well, a lot of other libraries have had the drag events, including Vancouver. Most of them did not have the same kind of controversy. However, in Kelowna, a couple weeks after the Coquitlam one we just saw, there was another big protest over a drag event at the library. This time, according to news reports, hundreds of people came out both for and against, whereas in Coquitlam, the protesters were massively outnumbered by supporters. The drag queen there, Frida Wales, said that the controversy has only made her more popular. She's gotten a lot more bookings since then. Back to you.
Thanks, Gurpreet. Canada is home to over 200,000 Iranians with a large Persian community residing in Vancouver. Many of them were out showing their condolences and remembering the victims who lost their lives on the Ukraine flight PS 752 that was shot down in 2020. Amelia Francis Fincham shares their stories with us.
33-year-old Bahare Karami was passionate about singing, but her voice was silenced when she died in the Ukraine Airlines flight PS 752.
After they killed Bahare, it was hard for us to live there anymore. We had nothing left there, and we couldn't live in the country that killed my sister.
On January 8th, the anniversary of the crash, the Karami family joined 7,000 people who protested the Iranian regime.
It's been 3 years that we are living in a darkness, and sometimes I think that maybe my sister is alive, because they didn't give us a body.
The Justice for Flight PS 752 march was organized by Arman Abtahi, who believes the media attention is making a difference.
We are calling on the governments of Western countries and free world to put pressure on Iran to stop all the executions and free all the political prisoners.
Abtahi's brother, Mehran Abtahi, was a UBC graduate. He was also a victim of Flight PS 752.
So I had this burden for a long time. I was blaming myself that I convinced him to come to Canada. If it wasn't for me, he would have lived.
The Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps murdered 176 innocent passengers and an unborn child.
The movement plans to march every Saturday until freedom is restored. And for some of the remaining family members, the fight is all they have left to live for. I'm Amelia Francis Fincham in Vancouver with BCIT Magazine.
Coming up after the break, Dr. Bonnie Henry talks the new Kraken variant.
And colorful lanterns are lighting up the city for Lunar New Year.
It's a newsroom, it simulates the industry. We have the same equipment that you would have if you were a professional. And just being able to feel like a professional while still getting an education is something that I'll never take for granted. Good morning, I'm Evan Smith, and these are your headlines for 12 o'clock.
I'm Shivani Joshi, and you're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Welcome back. A new COVID-19 subvariant has made its way to Vancouver. The strain is nicknamed Kraken, and according to infectious disease experts, it is described as being the most transmissible variant so far. With more, here's Evan Smith.
The last time testing sites in Vancouver were faced with serious traffic was back in January of 2022. But now Kraken could possibly lead to inflated COVID-19 numbers throughout the city once again.
I think it has the potential to be bigger just because people aren't under the same restrictions as we were when Omicron was here. We still had mandatory masks in a lot of places, and we were still limiting social contacts. We aren't doing that anymore, so the ability for a virus to spread is increased.
Kraken, also referred to as XBB 1.5, is a variant of Omicron. Although only 42 cases have been confirmed in the country, health officials still believe it is cause for concern.
So each new one that spreads, by definition, is the most infectious one to date, and we've seen that with XBB 1.5. So why does it take off in some places and not in others? A lot of it has to do with the defenses that we have in our community.
Although COVID-19 testing remains integral to prevent the spread of the virus, some may not be aware of the changes that have occurred on this front. With fewer cases and less demand over the past year, most testing sites in Vancouver have shut down. However, that doesn't mean you can't get tested. You may just need a rapid test. Rapid tests are available at most community pharmacies. They're free and there's no requirement to show ID. So if you're feeling ill, a family member could pick up one for you. In response to the surge hospitals are expecting this January, the BC government has announced the reactivation of emergency operation centers. These measures allow increased patient flow, meaning patients in critical care will be able to get the treatment they need. Evan Smith in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Reporter Evan Smith joins us now to talk more about the virus. Evan, what's the latest information regarding COVID-19?
The World Health Organization released a statement on Monday morning addressing this. They went on to say that although at a much better position than this time last year when dealing with the Omicron variant, the event still warrants a public health emergency of international concern.
And Evan, has Canada addressed the ongoing situation recently?
Yes, the most recent statement came on January 20th. They directly discussed the Kraken variant, stating that, while XBB variants are expected to increase in Canada, it is not known whether they will become the dominant lineage. They also said that the pandemic is difficult to forecast and Canadians should continue to take personal protective measures. Back to you.
Thank you, Evan. The City of Vancouver's Renters Office was shut down recently, and there seem to be opposing views on the efficiency of how it operated. Reporter Angelina Mintz learns more.
The decision to close the city's renters office caught some councillors off guard.
Well, I think it was a bad process myself.
Established back in 2018, the office was funded through the empty homes tax. It helped approximately 300 residents a year navigate the system.
Very efficient renter supporting program. We need extensive knowledge and experiences, especially from the legal perspective.
ABC councillor Rebecca Bly defends the decision, saying it's not the end for ensuring renters' rights.
We're really redirecting this funding and making it more streamlined to get better services to renters.
The office was receiving on average about one call a day, and only 40% of those calls were city-related, according to Bly. She also said it cost about $2,000 for each call received, noting the reallocation of funds just makes sense.
Organizations like TRAC and others have the expertise, the resources, the experience to be able to provide that service.
But what our office did was really kind of coordinate this or navigate the system for people who came with problems. So
over the next 6 months, the renter's office will be slowly shut down, and renters wanting to access the services will be directed to other organizations. While some counselors are unhappy with the shutdown, they hope this will be revisited at a later time. Angelina Mintz in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
The province of BC announced this week the decriminalization of small amounts of illicit drugs such as cocaine and methamphetamine. As of Tuesday, you can have up to 2.5 grams of illicit drugs on you at a time. This comes just as the province revealed that last year, 2,272 toxic drug deaths were recorded, making it the second highest year on record.
Heading back to our campus now, construction for the BCIT Tall Timber Student Housing Building is already underway. But is this additional housing needed? My co-anchor Mac Fleet reports.
Head southbound on Laurie Jack Lane and you will be in the middle of the dorms at BCIT. These buildings can house approximately 350 students when at full occupancy. The BCIT Tall Timber Student Housing Project is already underway. The new building will be able to house an additional 450 students. Is this necessary though when, according to one student, the old buildings are not full?
We're short 2 rooms now. Someone just moved out, but we've been short 1 room the whole year. And I was actually talking with one of my classmates the other week, and he's from Winnipeg, and he didn't get in, but there's empty rooms in almost all the dorms, which is a bit strange, but who knows why that is.
Dick Alvarez is in the architecture program here at BCIT and offered his thoughts on the new building.
And personally, I think I'd go with this one. Not that that one's bad by any means, but the more house-style layout of this will give, I don't know, it's more calm, because that one's like obviously 12 floors. Everyone's super compact. You don't really have any private space. More shared bathrooms, less kitchen space. Overall, I think this one gives more of a house feel, which is nice. Being on school, obviously, it's a little draining, but yeah, I think here is definitely better, even though that one maybe look newer, look nicer, but no, it's good here.
Nolan Nordwall of the BCIT Student Association said in a statement that they do support the new building being built and know that the waitlist for housing can be as high as 500 students at times. BCIT and student housing were not able to comment at this time, so the question still remains. Is additional housing in fact necessary? I'm Mac Fleet in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine. Also at BCIT, the school will be launching its new digital health program this month. However, there are challenges with this emerging field in data security that still need to be addressed. Jasper Chu has more.
These medical students are checking a mock patient's state after surgery in BCIT's new Health Sciences Center. But this information will be used for educating those in a new digital health program online that will help students upskill into the digital health industry, storing and accessing medical information.
So we're working very closely with our industry partners to ensure that the content we're teaching and the theory as well as the practical aspects of this course are all relevant to industry.
But there are challenges facing the industry, especially the security of personal health data becoming a pressing issue in areas such as handling privacy and cyber attacks.
We still have all these different agencies siloing information, not communicating with each other. I mean, you just reading the news lately, like it's almost daily now that we're hearing about ransomware attacks in different health facilities.
Steve Wilson, a member of BCIT's Center for Digital Transformation, says that there's a lack of collaboration between firms in this regard.
For example, we have the Vancouver International Privacy and Security Conference coming up. And the whole idea behind that is just bringing all these different organizations and groups together to really talk about what the issues are.
He said that greater collaboration will be necessary, not just between local organizations and regional health authorities, but also national and international health services. The summit that Wilson points to is an example of collaboration already taking place. Running from the 22nd to the 24th, the summit's goal is to discuss essential issues on how to work, live, and play securely as digital platforms are increasingly used. But like these students taking this mock patient's information, how they learn to handle sensitive data will be critical in their future careers. This is Jasper Chu in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Back to the Lunar New Year now, huge totem-like lanterns have been spotted around the city, and it's all part of the celebration. Ashwin Agbayani tells us more.
Lantern City, an annual celebration in Vancouver where these huge totem pole-like lanterns are spread out across the city for the Lunar New Year. For one of the lantern designer, a US-based Coast Salish artist, his represents many things, including the feeling of missing home.
I want to share the beauty of Coast Salish art. It was an art style that was almost taken away from us. And for me, it's also a statement that our people are still here. Our culture and our tradition are still intact.
Festival organizers say having the lanterns face the water is a reminder that the land where we hold our celebrations is on the unceded ancestral territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations.
We want everyone in Vancouver and also around the world to imagine how Lunar New Year can look like, especially because we are all from different cultures and different communities.
At Jack Pool Plaza, each of the lantern is designed by 2 Indigenous Canadian artists and 2 Indigenous Taiwanese artists. This year's message is different.
We wanted to highlight nature and the feeling of returning to nature because Mother Nature has always embraced us.
The sun to me represents personal growth, life's energy, healing, and that feeling of peace that you get from the warmth that radiates the sun.
Tourists and locals alike are drawn to the lights.
He is from Mexico and he is here on vacation.
Wait, vacations?
We thought the lights were really pretty for him.
I hope that I see more art like this because art is just a beautiful thing to see in the city.
So hopefully when you see some of my designs, you get some sort of positive feeling from my designs.
If we can come together and celebrate and share our stories together, it would be a very, very lovely Lunar New Year.
This year, the lanterns are lighting up the city for a whole month. Astrid Agbayani in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up after the break, people lace up their skates at roller derby.
And BCIT students hit the volleyball courts to take a break from their studies.
Extremely important for people to stay healthy and to stay active as much as possible.
Welcome back to BCIT Magazine. Different cultures have different types of traditional healing methods, and this is no exception for Indigenous people. Our reporters Charas Leo and Maham Hashmi teach us more about Indigenous herbal medicine.
Have you ever been curious about how Indigenous communities practice traditional medicines? I'm Charas Leo for BCIT Magazine, here to show you more about it. There are many types of plants and herbs that are important to many First Nation communities, but 4 of the main ones that are specifically used for smudging include sage, cedar, sweetgrass, and tobacco. Due to the sacred nature of smudging ceremonies, filming is not permitted. However, photos can be taken with permission.
Tobacco is a traditional medicine that is used in prayer. And it's always in the eastern door, so at the rise of the sun you take tobacco, hold it in your left hand closest to your heart, and you say a prayer. Take this cedar and we place it on the floor of the sweat lodge, and it teaches us when we go into the sweat to be kind and gentle when we walk out. The sage is there as we smudge with it. It reminds us to let go of those things that trouble us, that we hold on to. Let go of them so that we can walk in a good way with other people. When we smudge in the Ojibwe or Anishinaabe way in the east, I was taught we always use sweetgrass. So we would take the sweetgrass and we would light that sweetgrass, and then we would take the eco feather and we would smudge ourselves that way.
The importance of these 4 medicines for Indigenous communities is vital to preserving traditions and providing spiritual healing. It's this healing property that caused a surge in the popularity of smudging and an increase in the purchase of sage on a wider scale. White sage is not currently endangered or threatened, but Indigenous conservationist groups believe that mass commercial harvesting is a cause for concern. In recent years, social media influencers, majority of them non-native, have taken traditional medicines and made viral videos off of a variation of smudging. This type of practice can be seen as cultural appropriation depending on who you ask. Although Alfred doesn't speak to the threat, he has one lesson that he wants everybody to know.
And we share what we know and share what we have learned. And that's all we do. And we put it out there and say, this is what I'm giving to you. Take what you can from it and leave the rest behind.
A local roller skate company is creating an inclusive space for the BIPOC community to join in on a groovy skate every Sunday. Our reporter, Chadis Leo, has the story.
Roller Skate Vancouver Arena has a new notable vibe every single week. This Soul Skate Sunday event has a vibrant sound thanks to Al Lamons, also known as DJ Alibaba.
Get in where you fit in. Bring something new to Vancouver.
Traditionally, roller skating has been a Caucasian-dominated sport, but Roller Skate has started an initiative to welcome more people who identify as BIPOC to join their community.
What we can do is educate people to understand that the roller boogie, roller dance culture came from Black culture. You know, Black people didn't create roller skating was already here, but they took it and added a little different flavor to it.
It is this education that Lamons wants to promote in order to help other BIPOC people join in on a great expressive sport. Layla Jean-Francois is one of those people that joined wanting to connect with her Black roots.
So the music that we have on Sunday nights it's geared to like people of like the BIPOC community. This is stuff that I'd be listening to as a child that my parents are playing. So this is all familiar and nostalgic to me.
There are many skaters like Layla who wanted to find other BIPOC people in a space that is fun and honors Black history.
Roller skating is historically like a very Black African-American style of enjoyment and fun. And, you know, when I was in Seattle, it's kind of hard for me to like find other Black people. And then I started roller skating and instantly found like the whole like existence of them.
Even if you're not good at roller skating like myself, Roller Skate Vancouver encourages everybody, BIPOC or not, to come down and have fun every single Sunday from 7 to 10. I'm Chadis Leo for BCIT Magazine.
Well, okay, there we go.
And if you're looking for more glow-in-the-dark sports, right here on campus, there is an interesting way for students to catch a break. Our reporter Maham Hashimi looks into the return of BCIT's Glow Week.
BCIT Rec Center welcomes back their famous Glow Week after a 3-year pause due to the pandemic.
Glow Week is really a good opportunity for students to come and meet other students. And basically what we do is we offer different sessions where they get to do events in the dark, basically, and get to glow.
The event also included painting your own t-shirts for the first time.
We already started something we did differently this year than we've done in the past, is we came out on Friday where you can come in and actually paint your t-shirts for the Glow event. And we just find a lot of students coming in, painting and just taking that time. And some students spend an hour painting their shirts. So I think that's just that, taking that break and that mental break and then meeting other individuals and then getting excited about what you're doing on your shirt and stuff. So I think that's great and positive thing.
Glow Week starts off with 2 games of volleyball with 1 glow-in-the-dark court hosting 2 teams of 12 students. Samuel Lucier is a regular at the rec center, but Glow Volleyball gave him a newfound excitement.
This is my first Glow Week at BCIT. They finally opened up after COVID. After hearing from coworkers and like the front desk, it sounded pretty fun. So being a Glow Week, it's pretty fun. I mean, you get a free t-shirt out of it. The atmosphere is pretty fun. Everyone's pretty lively. Good time. Glow Week is a great opportunity to, just give your brain a quick break from a heavy course load. It's a fun environment, so you get to meet some new people and enjoy the loud music and cool lights.
Glow Week has been a continued success, and the rec center hopes to keep students on campus engaged with future events like this. I'm Maham Hashmi in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
BCIT students may not know this, but among the many clubs and groups on campus, there is a board games club. Sylvia, you got a chance to sit down with the club's president. How'd it go?
Yes, Mac, it was really interesting, The club was launched just last September, but it's a really neat way for students to step away from their work. Have a look. I'm here with Alexander. He's the president of the board game club here at BCIT. Alex, we were just playing a little bit of Monopoly, and we of course have other games here. But tell me, what is the importance of board games and the board game club for students' mental health in general?
Well, as you know, BCIT is not your ordinary school. It's definitely very accelerated. It's very difficult for a lot of students. And there's lots of academic clubs here on campus, but there's not many clubs that help you relax. There's not many clubs that help you take a load off, and that's a very important part of wellness and mental health.
No, I'm thinking like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine, yes.
Was that the reason why you decided to start this club? Was it like because of mental health? Like, why did you start it?
I started it actually as mental health for myself. I'm part of a computing program, and so I do a lot of coding every day. I'm staring at a screen every day. And so I want to relax and stuff. And a lot of people play video games, but that's just more screen time. So I want to be in person, playing something, rolling dice, playing cards, having fun.
So what would you say is the most popular game in the club?
I would say it's a little game called Love Letter. Love Letter.
I've never heard of that. What is that?
Love Letter is a variation on poker, except that the trick to the game is that every player is a suitor for the princess of the kingdom.
So the most popular game in the board game club is not a board game.
No, and I think that actually is very indicative to what we mean by board games. Board games are anything. They could be card games, but we just refer to them as board games. You could call our club the Games Club.
If anyone that is watching us wants to sign up for the club, join the club, what do they need to do? What are the steps? Where do they find you? How does that work?
Oh, that's actually pretty easy. We hang up posters around campus with a QR code, and all you have to do is scan the QR code. That'll bring us into the Discord server. You'll be able to hear our announcements, and from there, you'll be able to come to our games nights. For anyone who is watching, I definitely would recommend coming to our Friday games nights. They're held in SEO 6 in room 206.
Every week, is that SE6 206?
Every week. That's
pretty
our room.
Easy.
It's our little home base, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, we might join you.
Yeah, I'd look forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alexander, for this interview.
No problem, and thank you very much, too.
If board games aren't for you, BCIT intramurals are right around the corner. Co-anchor Sylvia Senna explores how sports give students an escape from their studies.
When coming here, it was a great opportunity to meet people and get to know new persons because you're basically on your lonesome when you come over.
This is what a Monday evening looks like for Lauren. As an exchange student from Germany, he found that a bump, a set, and a spike can lead to new friendships.
I nearly fell over. Team sports have always been a big part of my life. I played football, handball, and some random sports like running and hitting the gym for basically all my life until I had the knee injury, which has basically ended my active contact sports career. I'm basically in rehab right now, which made volleyball pretty good because it's a non-contact sport of sorts.
Olivia is in her final year at BCIT and decided to join intramurals for the first time to take a break from her workload.
It's a really great way for people to go out and stay active, especially during all of the busyness that is BCIT, and it's just a great way to take a break from the school and just come together as a community and play.
The leagues happen on weeknights. Students can sign up for sports like volleyball, badminton, futsal, and basketball. Each season is approximately 10 weeks long, with 1 game per week.
Look at that! Look at that! Sit me up, sit me up! And I'm a competitive person, I love sports, and it's just great having the opportunity to play in a team.
With the launch right around the corner, Lauren is hoping to win. But more importantly, he's excited to have fun with the friends he has made. Sylvia Sena in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Low five, high five, woo!
If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitnews.com.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Mac Fleet.
And I'm Sylvia Sena. Join us next time for more BCIT Magazine. We now leave you with another look at the roller derby in Vancouver.